and welcome to Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today, we're talking about playing the long game, that is, letting go of perfectionism now to make big gains in the future. Hey, Janine.
Hey, Shannon, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, too. Since we last recorded 1 week ago, I've experienced 91 degrees and like 28 degrees. So the weather in St. Louis is driving me a little bit crazy. So we're on the cold side right now. But since I don't really go outside except to walk Bix, it's not that big a deal. I feel free to complain.
It is a little odd, and we're having just beautiful spring weather. It's been I'm a little worried to say this. I don't want to jinx things, but we just have beautiful blue sky, and it's been in the 60s and very nice on my short run this morning.
Oh, that's excellent. Portland in nice weather is so nice. Most cities are, but Portland in particular, I imagine, with spring flowers and stuff. That's great.
Yeah. And the further we get into this pandemic and the stay-at-home orders, both the easier and the harder it gets.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's certainly feeling more normal. So that sort of discomfort of the restriction. It feels somehow less restricted to me just because it feels more normal.
Right.
And yet it would be nice to just think, oh, I'll go to the grocery store and not worry about it. Or I had a friend, one of my team members emailed me the other day, and she mentioned that she had to go to the bank. And I said, wow, it must be really nice to have somewhere to go. And she said, yeah. My dog's
Our
gonna
banks
be so
are all
excited.
Closed.
Oh, drive-through is open for us.
Oh. Yeah, I think all of our drive-thrus, though, are ATMs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Maybe there are people in there. I just never gone.
In Walla Walla, I know there are people in there because my father has never used an ATM.
Oh.
So he would not know what to do if he were forced into that situation. And he always forgets to use a credit card, so he needs cash.
Right. But as I learned from his his wonderful sharing of his grocery bags for me to use to pick up trash that had receipts in them, he also writes checks for his groceries, which I think is so adorable.
Unless you're in line behind him, and then it's less adorable.
Right.
As I've been there. I've looked at the faces of the people behind him in line at the grocery store.
And made your quiet apologies.
Exactly. And they're always very nice about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know. I spent a lot of time working at coffee shops, and I didn't realize how big a part of my life that was until I couldn't do it anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I've forgotten that you did that. Are Starbucks open nowadays?
The drive-thrus are.
Mm-hmm. So you can still get your fix.
Are
you still getting it? Yeah.
Yeah, I go. That's generally my big outing. I go to the grocery store once a week, and I go to Starbucks. I drive through the Starbucks, and they're always so sweet. They're like, they always say something like, "Take care, stay healthy, stay safe." It's just, I don't know. It's very, very touching to me that people are really sort of connecting and, thinking about you away from whatever service they're providing for you. Mm-hmm. I think it's just very, and I've noticed that too on customer service calls. I've
me
had to
too.
make a few customer service calls, and everyone has been very like, I had one where the guy seemed sort of reluctant to hang up. Like he was like, oh, okay, well, I guess if I can't do anything more for you, well, stay safe out there.
Maybe you were one of the more nice customers he'd been dealing with that day.
Yeah, that could be. But I've noticed that people are just, nicer and more caring and thoughtful, and it is, that's a wonderful silver lining in all of this, is that, people are remembering that everyone else is a human being, and that, we're sort of all dealing with this. And it's just, I don't know, it's sort of a nice connection.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. I haven't really experienced that because I haven't really spoken to anybody besides Barry in a month. It's not true. I talked to you. It just feels like that. But I did have a nice customer service interaction the other day. Yeah, on the phone. It just occurred to me, I don't think we've stated the obvious, which is that your trip to Portugal has gotten put off.
Yes, it has.
I thought, well, maybe people are wondering whether Shannon still gets to walk across Portugal. It's a sad byproduct of this quarantine, of this COVID crisis, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, and I realized pretty early in March that it wasn't going to happen. And then they closed the border between Portugal and Spain, probably right around mid-March, like right around my birthday, I think. And so, then it became more and more apparent. I mean, the writing was on the wall, but I'll tell you, I did look at the airline website to start figuring out what I need to do to cancel my tickets, but I haven't brought myself to actually cancel my tickets yet, even though I know 100% I'm not going.
Huh. That's interesting. That's curious. Well, and are you going to be able to cancel them and reuse them without too much penalty?
Well, I used miles.
Oh.
So, from what I could glean, the miles just get redeposited back into my account. The only thing that's unclear to me is you have to pay taxes and fees on top of the miles. And for my ticket, it was pretty expensive because one leg of my flight was on British Airways, and for whatever reason, their taxes and fees are outrageously expensive. So I don't know if I'll get all of that back. I would assume so. But that's the only thing. And, if I don't get that back, that's not that much money for, a whole month's worth of traveling. And thank goodness I didn't book stays anywhere or, thank goodness my plan was to just wing it.
Yeah.
Once I got there.
So all you have to do is someday cancel the airfare, and then, the ticket.
Yeah.
And then that's it. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
So have you thought about when you'll try to do it? I'm assuming you're not giving up on the idea.
No, I still want to do it, but part of the planning is to do it when it's good weather-wise, because I'm sort of a heat wimp, as you know, and but also I don't want it to be too cold and rainy, so that's why I picked May. It's before it starts getting too warm, but it's sort of out of the spring rainy season. The other potential time to do it would be like October, but I don't know if things will have recovered enough that there will be enough infrastructure in place to be able to do it in October. So my plan now is to try again next May.
That's sort of what I was guessing you would do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes your long game even longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Plenty of
And
time to play it.
and it's sort of weird, but so this will be the second time it's been postponed. Because
Right,
remember I was
your
supposed to
ankle.
do it last May, but instead I was getting ankle surgery.
Yes, yes, right.
And so that sort of gave me the opportunity. I wasn't able to train at all, which is why I ended up having not even getting as far as planning it, buying tickets, because I just started training when I sprained my ankle in November. And so, but I had a lot of time to think about what I wanted to do in preparation for this May. And now I got pretty close to the time to go before it became apparent that I wasn't going. And so I have been making notes of what I wished I had done in advance. So now I have, a whole other year to think about those things and I have the benefit of like getting pretty close up to the end and knowing what I really wished I had done and what was not that big of a deal.
Yeah, that is an interesting do-over that you get to do. But I know that one of the things that you're planning to do when you finally get there is to sketch a lot of what you see and journal graphically,
Yes.
if I'm understanding it correctly. So just imagine what an amazing sketcher you're going to be by then.
I know. I will. And that was one of the things that I was feeling like I hadn't spent enough time doing was sketching and sort of, thinking about how I wanted to handle my travel journal for the month. And so now I have a whole year to play with that. And I'm actually keeping a pandemic journal. And so I'm keeping all my sketches in. I'm doing one sketchbook per month, and I'm posting the pictures, and sometimes I post all or part of the writing, but I'm also writing nearly every day just to give a little background about why I drew what I drew, or other things that are going on that are maybe not related to the sketch or the cartoon that I drew.
Gosh, that's just amazing. Like what my mind went to is 100 years from now, historians will unearth your journal, and it will be this amazing example of with written word and illustration of what people were going through at the time.
Yeah. And
That's
because
really cool.
also, it's so easy to not remember what things really felt like in the moment. Like,
100%.
none of us will forget sort of the overall feeling of this. But, are we going to remember like what it felt like? Like I remember when I first read that a hospital system based in Oregon was asking people to make masks. And I thought, that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And now like everybody is making masks. I'm making masks. Like,
Right.
and just to be able to like note that and the things that seemed like bonkers at the beginning that now seem like, well, of course this is what we would be doing.
Right. Or like what went into decisions. Like when I think back that on your birthday, March 17th, I got my hair cut. What? I mean, that just seems crazy. And 2 days later, the salon's shut down. And at the time, it seemed prudent enough. I needed a haircut. And
Right.
I had an appointment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like...
Well, we were going to go out to dinner on my birthday. And at the time, I thought, well, worst case scenario, there's not going to be very many people there.
Right. Oh, restaurants are actually open?
Oh, no, the day before they closed all the restaurants.
Oh, right.
But we were also the kids were going to go with us. And that was going to be the first time I'd seen the kids in like 2 weeks because I'd been out of town. And so that didn't happen, and we haven't seen them. I mean, we've like video chatted with them, and they've come and stood on the sidewalk while we were on the porch.
Right.
But
yeah,
and
so recording those things, I think, is really valuable. It'll be valuable for you soon, if it isn't already. So that's smart.
Really,
I started a journal, and it fell by the wayside. So I'm glad that you picked it up.
Well, it's a very long game, because I was thinking about, like, you know, future generations are going to ask us, like, what was that like? You know, like, I wanted to ask I asked my grandparents, like, what was the Depression like? Because, you know, you have all these images of it, and they, you know, they could talk sort of generally, or like my parents could talk generally about like rationing after the war or during the war and stuff. But like, to be able to pull out something that has very specific information, I think is just...
Oh, yeah. And for your descendants... I mean, that's just like that would be gold. I mean, I think for strangers it would be gold, but
I don't know. I don't know that my thoughts are all that great, but
well, I'm talking, you know, the long game, 100 years from now, assuming there's people interested.
Right.
But yeah, if I were able to find a journal of my ancestors, one of my ancestors during the Spanish flu, that would be very interesting. Right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have such a thing. But, yeah, so that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, but so, I mean, the long game has really played a lot into the whole sketching and cartooning, and because what we talked about, like, I talked about it when we recorded our hobbies episode, which was how long ago?
It was way back it was episode 35, so...
Oh, my goodness. And this is episode 99.
Yeah. So more than a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah, and I talked about
January. It was January of 19. I just checked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I talked then about how I wanted to do it, and you know, that was when I had the very sad realization of all the hobbies that I had started and quit because of perfectionism.
Right. That's right. That conversation was kind of funny. So
funny for you.
Right. Because you would start a hobby, so I would start the same hobby, and then I would keep doing it.
Right.
And you would drop it off.
You've been knitting for like 15 years, and I knit 2 things and quit.
Right. Thank you for inspiring me to start knitting, Shannon, because I really enjoy it.
You're welcome. Well, and I'm actually glad that I inspired you to knit, because I have certainly benefited from it.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
But now things are different because you're living the good enough life, and you can get past the imperfections, right? At the beginning of a hobby.
It's so true. Yeah. And it was with the cartooning thing, and particularly because I was sharing stuff publicly.
Yeah.
It was a lot to get over. And it still is. I mean, there are still things where I did not turn out the way I wanted it to, and I have to share it to in order to quote unquote turn in my homework.
Yeah. So I'm when I think about it, I'm always impressed that you took this on in the first place, because that public exposure, so to speak, that was a requirement of this class, might have been enough to stop me from doing it. So it's really cool that you did it.
Yeah, well, and I will say that most people did it, and just to explain why, that it's done on an online forum, and they just didn't want all the bandwidth sucked up by people posting images in there. And so you post on social media, and then you do a link, and so it shows up in the you know how like you get a preview of a link, so it shows the image, like you put the link of the Instagram post, and so it shows the image so you can see it, but it doesn't take up the bandwidth of posting an actual image. And so what most people did, I think I'm going to guess like 90% of people, maybe I perhaps only know one other person that used their same personal Instagram account. Most people set up a separate Instagram account, so it was public, but people didn't know about it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, in any case, you were brave enough to make yours public. So those of us who are your friends on social media have really had the chance to watch your progress, which has been immense. And you also then had the chance to get some great feedback, I suspect.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it definitely keeps me going. And it's really, I mean, it is so encouraging. Everyone is so nice and encouraging, and people don't ever say mean things. I don't know that anyone has ever, pointed out a flaw in something that I've posted.
Right. Well, that's good.
Yeah. Which, I think that would be the big fear, right? That someone's going to be mean to you about it.
Yeah, exactly. But these are your friends.
Yeah.
Or people, yeah. Yeah.
Well, but on Instagram, anyone could see it.
Well, that's true. But, right, I'm glad that no one, that's how maybe you attract the nice people on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, and so there were a lot of perfectionistic hurdles to jump over, and I just kept going back to why I was doing this to begin with, like why this was important, and I still do that. Like I want to have a practice of a visual journal, whether that's a pandemic journal, a travel journal, or just a day-to-day life journal. Mm-hmm. It feels really good to me to be sketching and there's something about putting it down on paper that's very different than taking pictures. Because I also love taking pictures and take a lot of pictures, but it's not this. It doesn't get this. I don't have the same connection to it.
Right. And what I was thinking of was with both the cartooning and the urban sketching, but I would imagine particularly the cartooning, you have to think about it in a different way than you think about other things. So you have to think about how you're going to frame an idea that represents something that's in your journal that day. And that's got to be really great for your brain.
Yes.
Thinking new ways.
Yes. I think so. And it is interesting I finished the 6-month-long cartooning class, which is considered part 1 and 2, and signed up for the next 3 months, which is part 3, because I'm a glutton for punishment. And and what's sort of funny is because it's now such a smaller group, they have changed it so we can post directly in the forum. Instead of having to post on social media. And I was like, but wait, I need to have to post on social media.
So you're still posting, right?
Yeah, I'm still posting on social media. And there have been a few things like last week I did a cartoon. I worked on it all week. It was a short, long game where I came up with an idea, and then I sketched it, then I outlined it, and each time I got feedback from the teacher and made subtle changes, and then I finally colored it, and then I posted it with some progress photos too. But the progress photos I just uploaded to the site as opposed to uploading them live. I didn't share them until after I had the finished one.
Nice.
I don't want to spoil the joke.
Right. Well, I think it's a terrific example of the benefits of tolerating the discomfort that letting go of perfectionism can bring in the short term in order to develop a talent or skill, a joy, whatever it is down the road. And that's what this is all about, isn't it?
Right. Right. Because, yeah, that's the important thing is that I want to do something that I enjoy and feels of value to me.
Right. Yeah. And I'm the same way with my genealogy, where at the beginning I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I didn't do things perfectly by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm still not doing things perfectly, but I know a lot more about better practices. And I'm awfully glad I stuck with it. Or when I dropped it for a while, and when I came back to it, I'm glad I stuck with it for the last 8 years or 9 years, because it's such a source of pleasure for me, and also developing some expertise has allowed me to help other people with it. So, yeah, that's another example of being in it for playing the long game.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, sort of more specifically to this time that we're currently in, that we can think about playing the long game, which I think means both taking care of yourself, because we don't know how long this long game is, mm-hmm. and also thinking about what, when restrictions are lifted and when we can sort of go back to our quote normal life, whatever that may be, in the future, that you have some idea of what really is important to you and that you've been moving in that direction.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, we, as weird as this time is, we can view it as an opportunity to think about our future selves and what direction we want to be moving in, and taking steps potentially toward that end. Not to put pressure on people, but it is a good time to think about playing the long game and thinking about what's going to happen in weeks or months or years.
Right. And I've been thinking about that sort of specifically, like, how do I want to spend my time when I feel like, instead of being restricted to spending my time in particular ways, when I get to have, more possibility, how do I really want to be spending my time? And also, like, sort of, how do I want to be in the world? Mm. For some reason, all of this has made me think a lot about waste and excess, and about how I want to, and it really fits with my word of the year of cultivate and being a good steward of my resources. Maybe that's why it's so much on my mind, but I feel like this is kind of created a magnifying glass on some of my habits that I would like to shift.
Excellent.
And look at ways where I have, been generating waste, for instance, and didn't really think about it before, but I don't know, sort of being in it all the time makes it more apparent.
Well, that's a good byproduct of the current situation.
Yeah. So I do think it's important to remind people that you don't have to figure out how to be super productive during this time, because it is also very stressful. Mm-hmm, I mean, I spend more time than I should reading newspaper article, reading stuff online from newspapers, reading stuff online and sort of getting caught up in things and feeling anxious and that's totally normal and also not always helpful. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting much better at reminding myself that it's not helpful, and what would feel helpful in the moment, and sort of gently redirecting myself to, even if that is, what would be helpful in the moment is to get lost in a novel or sew a mask or talk to a friend or do some yoga, or it doesn't have to be, I have to be productive and make something. for the future or get something done. Just, be gentle with myself and not feel bad that I'm getting sucked into the news, because it's very easy to do. Just a gentle reminder to how to step out of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think self-care is the key, right? And self-care can look different on a moment-by-moment basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that reminder that, at least, especially speaking for myself, where I'm so accustomed to setting like lofty goals for what I'm going to get done every day, which have always done, and continuing to do, but letting myself let it be okay when I actually don't, when I don't get that much done.
Yeah.
But also, it's great when I do get a lot done. I mean, that feels
Right.
terrific. So
Yep.
You're right. It's all about a balance.
Yeah.
And taking care of yourself. But, we have something to celebrate next week, don't we?
We do. Next week is our 100th episode.
Amazing.
I know. It's sort of mind-boggling. Triple
Yeah.
digits.
Triple digits.
I feel like a kid, like when a kid goes from 9 to 10 and they're like double digits.
Right.
It's like so big deal.
Yeah. So we decided we're going to do something a little bit different for the 100th episode, which is, you tell them, Shannon.
We want to hear from you about, we end each episode with, we hope that good enough is getting easier for you. And we would love to hear your stories, your comments about how good enough has gotten easier for you.
That would be so great. It would be, Shannon and I both know how doing 99 episodes of this podcast has helped us embrace good enough and how it's enhanced our lives. And I think we talked about that on episode 52. But I would love to hear more from the listeners about how it's helped them, how embracing good enough, or how good enough has been getting easier. So fingers crossed, we'll hear from some of you.
Yes.
And then if we do, we'll read or play what we, depending on how you leave it, on this 100th episode, which we'll be recording on Monday the 20th.
Yes. And so you can leave us a voicemail at 413-424-GTGE. That's 4843. You can also email us at hello@gettingtogoodenough.com. And when you email us, you can write something or you can send a voice recording if you'd like to do it that way. You can also leave a comment on our social media or our website. And our social media is on Instagram and Facebook, we're Getting to Good Enough. And on Twitter, we're GTG Enough. And then our website, of course, is gettingtogoodenough.com. But for now, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we really do hope that good enough is getting easier for you.
Hear, hear.
I can't wait to hear what people say.
Me too.